The real-time strategy landscape quickly expanded from its humble beginnings into a booming success story in just a couple of years. In the latter half of the 90s, RTS titles were flooding the market to populate the burgeoning genre at a decent pace. It's in some of the more innovative titles though where noticeable evolutions were taking place. Among the crowd, one can easily see how the grand space opera tale of a ragtag nation of exiles fighting to return to their long-lost homeworld stood head and shoulders above the rest. The journey that led to the creation of Homeworld might seem all too natural in hindsight. Bringing space combat into the realm of gaming has always been alluring for game designers. That being said, gamers were mostly limited to a cockpit view of the action, while sprawling battlefields raged on around them. This was a big drive behind the vision the fledgling studio of Relic Entertainment had as they tackled their very first project. The developers saw the grand design falling closer to seeing epic Star Wars-esque battles unfold to view as the eagle-eyed overseer, rather than an X-Wing pilot caught in the midst of the battlefield. With Star Wars as an inspiration on the one hand, Relic's other goal was for you to partake in a grand excursion as is captured in the 1970s television series Battlestar Galactica. Much in the same vein as that show, the story of Homeworld found itself centered around refugees left without a place to call their own, having to make an arduous journey through trials and tribulations to reclaim the planet that was taken from them thousands of years ago. Relic wanted the story to form a major part of the Homeworld experience, and they certainly succeeded in that. The game resonated with its players, and what factored into this was the superb soundtrack that trailed you on your captivating journey through the stars. With the story at the emotional core of the game, it was still going to need a solid framework for it to actually work. The entire vision behind the commander sending hundreds of ships into battle meant the structure of the RTS genre was a natural environment for a game of Homeworld's caliber. The gameplay in Homeworld became just as memorable as its visuals and the music. With a sleek interface and fluid design that is both minimalistic and engaging, the gameplay nails the feel of stepping into the role of a battlefield commander. The moment the mission kicks off, the level of immersion takes the player straight into the action with smooth gameplay and an exceptional degree of control over your armada. As small fighter ships zip around, engaging in dogfights and maneuvering through the battlefield at a deft pace, dreadnoughts and heavy cruisers will lumber forward, bashing into the opposition like a fleet of sledgehammers, all the while the mothership holds its position, sending out reinforcements, while harvesters scavenge for more resources to keep your fleet going. There's a sense of flow to the gameplay. It's easy to imagine just how overly complex and bogged down a game like this could have been with so much happening in 3D space, leaving just about any player overwhelmed. What really pulled off with Homeworld is nothing short of masterful. On release, its sales soared, and the glowing reviews praised every aspect of the game, and with it the Homeworld legacy was solidified. Curiously, Relic didn't immediately jump into a sequel or even an expansion, instead moving on to work on another title. The next game, Impossible Creatures, brought some more unique twists to the RTS genre, but it would be 4 more years before Homeworld 2 ultimately saw the light of day. Might I add though, in the late 90s, early 2000s, 4 years was a lifetime between games, so the wait felt extensive. Of course, that didn't mean publishers here intended to wait on their laurels. Almost exactly a year after the first game hit shelves, Barking Dog Studios got their standalone spin of Homeworld Cataclysm out the gate. Now there's a whole lot to be said about Cataclysm, or Emergence as it's known today, but that is a long story best left to tell another time. What is worth pointing out though is how both Cataclysm and Homeworld 2 added a whole host of improvements to the original, expanding upon the mechanics of the first game with many quality of life additions. It's here where things took a bit of a strange turn though. In April 2004, Relic was acquired by THQ, and with it came the rights to the Warhammer IP. Relic delved deep into the 40k universe, delivering a whole line of titles in the Dawn of War series, and on top of that they jumped into the past with the Company of Heroes series of games. Whether it were the grimness of the distant future or the trenches of World War II, Relic had stuck their roots into the RTS market, and they were making a lot of waves. Gamer interest stayed warm when it came to their first title though, as questions of a number 3 in the Homeworld franchise followed Relic wherever they went. Except for a few brief mentions in interviews, nothing concrete was ever announced. Fears mounted when THQ declared bankruptcy and all their IPs went up in the air. Sega swooped in to scoop up Relic and the 40k IP, while Homeworld was sold off separately to Gearbox Software, putting things into a bleak position for fans. To Gearbox's credit though, it turned out they had noble intentions at heart when they secured the beloved space IP. As fans of the series themselves, they only wished to hold true to the legacy of Homeworld, and work started on a remaster for fans old and new to the franchise. And so, after so many years of silence, Homeworld was ready to be experienced by a whole new generation, as even the old guard couldn't wait to get back into the battle with all the bells and whistles modern technology had on offer. Blackbird Interactive, a studio created by former Relic developers that included its founding members, had also shown interest in regaining their old IP. At the time, they were working on a spiritual precursor set in the past of the Homeworld storyline, but sadly they weren't able to set it in the universe that they've created. After hearing about the project though, Gearbox was more than happy to allow Blackbird use of the IP, and so Homeworld Deserts of Karak was released in 2016. Coming off of the remaster and the prequel success, Gearbox gave the go-ahead for Blackbird to get to work on the official third entry into the Homeworld saga. As of mid-2023, we are still eagerly awaiting Homeworld 3's release, which should be sometime later this year. As far as the remaster is concerned, it launched to a warm welcoming reception as both reviewers and players leapt at the chance to jump in and relive the war for Higara. Thanks to the help of a passionate modding community, the remaster was a perfect reconstruction of the old game, but Gearbox spared no expense. Not only are the classic versions of Homeworld 1 and 2 playable here, there are also full graphical remasters of both games included as well. Players have the chance to see the originals in their former glory alongside new versions equipped with a shiny new coat of paint. The remaster succeeded in going above and beyond to keep a true in every sense of the word classic RTS game alive well over 2 decades after its release. Homeworld is a game that lives up to its stellar legacy, and gamers today owe it to themselves to at least once in their lifetime experience a pure cut gem of a game. These are just my thoughts on Homeworld. Do you feel the same way or have something extra to add? Let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like to see more indie and classic gaming content, feel free to subscribe and take a stab at the like button if you enjoyed the video. Thanks for stopping by everyone, I'll see you in the next one.